Greetings. We are from the Pleiades. What are the reasons for the spiritual ascension? If the life just ended included a lot of spiritual awareness, the essence of the soul leaving the body goes directly to the parent part of the soul in the star realm's densities from 7th to 9th. This process is often referred to as spiritual ascension. In the past, most of the people went through spiritual ascension, and more than once. The soul ascending spiritually has satisfactorily completed karma and no longer needs the will of reincarnation, but it has chosen to leave the body rather than transmute it into a silicon-based form of light. The reasons for this decision will vary. Often this choice is made when the soul in the current body is very old or has a very sick body and feels that it will take a lot of work to restore a body sufficient for ascension. If a soul strongly believes that the body must age and die, or that it must leave the body in order to ascend, such a belief may lead the soul to choose spiritual over physical ascension. Unconscious fragmentation in Earth life. In third density life, we will use third density as an example. Though all of the above is true for fourth density as well, souls can become even more fragmented. This is a kind of fragmentation that does not create sovereign beings. You've heard the expression, you left a piece of yourself to everyone you loved, and it's true in every sense of the word. People have a song called I Left My Heart in San Francisco. We think that the author of the song did not even realize how right he was. When you visit a beautiful place and become attached to it, energetically you leave a piece of yourself there. If you could photograph in the Kirlian way the aura of the entity through which we speak when she gets up from her chair, you would see that some of her energy is still sitting on the chair. After some time, the energy dissipates and returns to the soul, but in some cases, especially when there is an emotional attachment, this is not always the case. If you, as a human being, become emotionally attached to another human being, you implant a part of yourself into their aura. Essentially, you are tearing a piece of yourself away from the original third density fragment. So it is quite possible that if you have lived a particularly full and traumatic Earth life, then at the end of your Earth life you will leave a few fragments of yourself attached to the bodies of other people or to other places that you visited in this life. And each such fragment will often not know what to do, will be confused, and will search in vain for other pieces of itself or its parent piece. When another soul seeks possession and dominance, it takes pieces of your soul and will never willingly give them back. That's why you have what are called energy robbers or energy vampires. These are souls that take energy from other souls and store it in themselves, hoping that somehow it will give them more energy and more power. Although in reality they extract fragments of other souls and place them in the aura of their own body. Such souls literally steal parts of another soul's energy and keep them separate from that soul. And so, 3 ways of access to zero-point divinity consists of both internal and changing and continuous movement consciousness. Consciousness moving in a static, unchanging, basic form creates a spiral or fractal patterns of energy within the layer of the unchanging aspect of God. This coral layer is what your scientists call a Bose-Einstein condensate. When the temperature approaches what you call absolute zero, the static state of the universe can be discovered. At the temperature of absolute zero, all movement stops, and one can observe the pure, unchanging state of the primordial essence of God. You will find that this unchanging state also resides in the very points of singularity that exist in infinite numbers throughout the Creator's universe. At the same time, you will find that the 0 point of absolute neutrality between the polarities of the electromagnetic field is at the same time the point of static invariance in the mind of God. There are at least 3 ways to access the eternal and changing aspect of the Creator. 1. By eliminating all thermodynamic elements from a region of space, thereby creating a temperature of absolute zero at which there is no movement of either particles or consciousness. Some physicists call this state a Bose-Einstein condensate. 2. By moving along the converging sides of pyramidal structures to a singularity at the top or cornerstone of the structure, which essentially means entering many black holes and many space-time tunnels that exist in 3D time. Space. 3. By entering a point of perfect neutrality between the polarities of the electromagnetic field. Some scientists refer to this area as the zero point. Dear creators, it is important to remember the following: no matter how you reach the eternal and changing aspect of God, for entering into such a state of being, you, in fact, find yourself at the same point outside of time and space. Whether you're entering a mini black hole in a galaxy billions of light years away from the Milky Way galaxy, passing through the zero point of the electromagnetic field in an earthly laboratory, building a pyramid in your living room and learning how to activate a keystone to pass through a singularity into the next dimension, you always end up at the same point. The same is true in the case of a distant galaxy. Every dot in the mind of God is the same dot, because in an unchanging eternal state neither time nor space exists. Your rational mind will have a hard time grasping this concept, but to some extent you can visualize it. When you apply this idea to consciousness, instead of a static geometric state in 3D time, space, it makes perfect sense. All systems of meditation, all paths to enlightenment, involve the same idea. By stilling the mind, you enter the still, timeless realms of pure spirit. When there is no movement of consciousness, you automatically place yourself in the singularity and therefore in the point of the eternal and changing consciousness of God. We are the Pleiadians.